Hello, soulmates. You're now listening to Peppers of Stories meant to soothe the souls of women everywhere.
Today, you're listening to Pepper Soup Stories meant to soothe the soul of women everywhere. We all know the expression, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Well, in Africa and beyond, when life gives you pepper, any kind of difficulty, the true measure of well-being is how quickly and well you can make pepper soup, which is a solution and pathway to soothing. Our podcast message is about I see you, I hear you. Others can provide pathways so you don't have to develop all the solutions yourself. You are not alone. Doing it alone is a lot of wasted time of trial and error. So we bring people on our platform who can provide contexts and frameworks to lift you to higher levels. My co-host and I, Ajamin, have been blessed professionally and personally to have ground many peppers, and we feel called to share our wisdom and that of our network so that our sisters around the world can get a leg up and skip the broken wrong, be it in their careers, their relationships, their femininity, their wellness, and whatever our audience is calling for. Armed with 50 years of corporate experience in the U.S. and Africa, complemented with coaching credentials in career wellness and leadership, twice a month, we will bring this body of experience to your door. We are your hosts, Ajamin Okoji and Patrenia Werts Onuoha, Coach J, Coach P, and today we have the pleasure of chatting with our inspiring Yoli Ray. And the crowd goes crazy. Yoli's in the place. Hey! Yoli! They're calling for you. Woo. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're honored to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here and connect with you and all your listeners.
Yes. And yes, I love it as well. You and I are connected in an interesting way for almost a year now, I guess. Yep. Mm-hmm. And you've just brought so much light into my life. So I just must make sure you know that perspective taking. Yes. Oh man. Just being able to hold a mirror up sometimes, building trust and honesty, all of those things are really so much of who you are. And I know you bring it into your coaching as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to tell a little bit about your bio and then invite you to just, let us know what it is you want us to know and take away about you. Okay. So Yoli Ray is 7X certified coach, life coach, self-mastery advocate, human design specialist, and I would say a self-love, self-care, just goddess. How about that as a word?
I'll take that.
Yoli Ray is the powerhouse behind Sparkle and Soul International, where she helps women reclaim their worth and align with their authentic selves. With over a decade of experience, she blends science and intuition through transformative tools like NLP, hypnosis, and human design to guide clients toward sustainable growth without burnout. Her signature program, The Inside Story, uses her unique IME method, which is identity, mindset, embodiment, which I can't wait to hear about, to help women break free from limiting beliefs and build lives they genuinely love. Through her upcoming membership, the Self-Image Society, she's creating a supportive community for self-image mastery. This Leo brings creative flair and authentic warmth to everything she does, from transformational workshops to women's circles. When she's not coaching, you'll find her behind the camera as the self-loved Shutterbug, using her 10 plus years of portrait photography to help clients find confidence and radiance. Yoli recently launched a self-mastery lab on YouTube. Wow, I love that. Covering all things self-development. Her mission is beautifully simple. Inspire women to live authentically, love unapologetically, and thrive wholeheartedly. Creating spaces where every woman feels seen, heard, and celebrate it. Yes, I can see that that's a little mantra for you. I see you were soaking that one in. Yes. How beautiful. Look what you've laid out and put out into the world, and how you've brought your photography and your coaching and all of that. We had a photo shoot recently with our family, and it just makes everyone feel good. Photo shoots are just like amazing, like dress up time, release yourself, connect, bond. So the fact that you unlock that for people, I just love that. I love that. And you've taken it to the next level with coaching. With all of that behind you, my dear, what is it that you would like for our soulmates to take away from you and from this interview?
I think my core message is that you're not broken. You were never broken. You're just living by somebody else's script. And that's part of the work that we do, is helping to uncover and reframe that script so you can write your own. So I'd say that would be my core takeaway. It's the underlying frequency of everything that I'm about and everything that I do, with all of the tools and modalities that I've been certified in, that I incorporate.
7X.
That's the basis right there. You were never broken.
Reframe, rewrite, reposition. I love all of those because they all have an underlying resilience to them.
Yes.
And in agency, that I am not just an outcome of something else. I can write my own story. I love that.
Right.
Thank you, Yoli.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been empowering women for over a decade.
Yep.
And what's not clear is, what was your own journey to becoming a self-mastery advocate? Was there a moment when you realized you needed to reclaim your own worth first?
Absolutely. Yeah. It wasn't just one moment though. It was more of a series of wake up calls, just quiet little whispers through burnout and breakdowns and how did I get here moments. For years, I've worked behind the camera, helping my clients feel beautiful, feel seen, feel powerful. But here I was hiding in plain sight, right? I could see their light, but I couldn't see my own, because I had been checking all the boxes, doing all the right things, but inside I was feeling really disconnected from my purpose, disconnected from my voice, and honestly, who I was outside of the roles that I was playing: the wife, the mom, the coworker, the sister, all of the PTA, all of the things that we do. And when I would look in the mirror, I just didn't recognize the person that was staring back at me. I mean, I wasn't broken. I mean, there's real trauma that a lot of us experience that brings us to that moment. And broken isn't a word I would use to describe my state. I was more buried under layers of shoulds, of survival, of shrinking to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's when I realized that if I'm going to help women rise, I've got to rise too. I can't guide anybody to their worth if I keep abandoning my own, if that makes sense. So my self-discovery started when I realized I need to change. I need to do something else. I love photography and I love the experience that I provide for my clients when I'm working with them. But just as they leave and they go on to their lives, in that they walk out feeling like $1 million. But how do I allow them or help them or support them to ride that feeling?
Sustain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to sustain, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not able to sustain that same level of energy and empowerment from just helping them in the 2 to 3 hours that we're together, I got some work to do, right? So that was actually, honestly, that was a spark that led me into coaching, to be completely honest. It was that experience that said, hey, what can I do to legitimize this? And I discovered self-love. In the self-love practices, I dove into human design. I dove into NLP, and it wasn't so much for the purpose of coaching. It was really to find myself so I could be more of a support to the clients that I was working with. And it was from that place that I realized that my mission was way bigger than helping people fall in love with their photos and preserve their memories. I was here to help them fall in love with who they really are.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm really soaking it all in because in terms of metaphors, what I took away from what you were saying, your photography was like a session. It was a finite beginning and end. And in those 2 hours, they felt amazing. But what about sustainability? And in order for you to really help them with sustainability, you needed to, one, work on yourself. And in order to work on yourself, you needed to be equipped. And you went out on this explorative journey, collecting and experiencing and building yourself so that you could help to build others. And you realized that it was more than just a photography feeling good and it lasting about yourself, that it was something bigger. And that's what helped you evolve into the coach and the change maker you are today.
Yeah.
Helping people to spark. So your spark helped you to move to sparkle. I mean, you know, when you talk about that was your spark.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many of our soulmates can relate to what you described. It wasn't just a burnout. It was more being buried in shoulds, buried in other expectations, shrinking to fit. I'm too much. Oh, the code switching even that we have to go through in the different kinds of spaces. And when you use the term of hiding in clear sight, that was so powerful to me because some people do show up in that way.
Yeah.
And it can start from as young as a child being told to be seen and not heard.
Absolutely. That comes up a lot in sessions, you know, in sessions about helping people feel more comfortable being visible, showing up on social media to market their businesses, silencing their voice. And yeah, it comes up a lot.
It's so funny because my older cousin mentioned that my mother did not apply those rules to me. When I was a little kid, I was allowed to stay in the room with the grown-ups and jump in everybody's conversations. And that may explain a lot about me. But anyway, I love the hiding in clear sight. Who were you besides the roles that you played in? I find in just talking to women, often we define ourselves in what we do and we don't sit in who we are. So that doing and being dichotomy and getting more comfortable and getting to know that being, that human being, not the human doing, that just really hit me. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but that was a spark that you just threw out to me that I am catching fire with because we do get caught up in all the roles and all of that. So that helped you to know that you wanted something different for your clients. Therefore, you had to make some changes yourself.
Yep.
This is excellent. Excellent. So in your intro, in your bio, you talked about your signature program, IME, Identity, Mindset, Embodiment. Can you break down really your journey to it? And then what is it? You know, just helping us to know how does it bring the results of lasting transformation without burnout? And your stories around it. We love stories, you know, and take that story and then kind of extend it for us so that we can get the key learnings. Thanks.
Yeah. The IME method is my signature framework that I use to coach my clients and to formulate change and transformation. It was born out of the realization that transformation doesn't really stick unless it gets to the core of who you are. Oftentimes we try to, when we want to change something, especially like a behavioral change, like what's dropping in for me right now is when people want to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
People want to lose weight, they start to do things, change behaviors. But if those behaviors don't align with how they see themselves, who they truly are, then it's not going to last. It's not going to be sustainable. Think about the gym industry, the fitness center industry, and how every January their membership enrollment skyrockets. But then by March, all these people have gone and enrolled in a new gym because they've got this idea. They're ready to make some physical changes because they want to change the environment and the behaviors to create this change. But if it's not in alignment with who they are and what they value, what their purpose is, then it's not going to last. And so that's the I, right? In identity, or in the IME method, it's identity.
Okay.
It's aligning and figuring out like who we are before we get to any of the mindset stuff, before we get to any of the actions of creating goals and routines and stuff, right? So identity. If you don't know who you are at your core, you'll keep shape-shifting, trying to like survive, right? Without
you know what I love?
Through your truth.
You know, I love that that movie. Ooh, I forget. Runaway Bride. Runaway Bride. And just a quick synopsis. She kept like, you know, she was very attractive. She would have the man on the aisle. She would walk down the aisle and then she would turn around and run away. Mm-hmm. And she was like known for running away from all these fiancés on the day of the wedding. And the reporter asked her what was her favorite egg, or how did she like her eggs.
She liked her eggs.
And her answer was, however, my boyfriend at the time liked his egg. That is such a metaphor for how we shapeshift to fit in, to be liked, to please, all of those things that are shadow behaviors around. I don't want to be rejected. I want to shrink to fit. I want to fit in. I don't want to stand out kind of actions. And it wasn't until she ran away from the last husband that she went to a restaurant and had eggs made in every possible recipe. And she sampled each one to find what was real for her.
Right. Yeah.
That's what your work feels like. Yeah. Powerful message.
Great movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember that scene very well.
Yes.
Because I was going through an identity transition at that time. And I remember sitting in the movie theater and bursting into tears.
Oh.
Yeah.
You need those moments sometimes. You need that thing to push you to the cliff and look in the mirror and be like, oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I cried through that entire movie. But
Powerful.
Identity. So the tool I use for this.
Okay.
The tool I use mostly for this, and I think this is I would say this is the foundational part of any coaching engagement or relationship I start, is the human design tool. It is the tool I use to help clients remember who they really are beneath those roles and expectations. And I refer to it, like in human design language, it's called the human design body graph or human design chart. But I refer to this as like it's an energetic portrait of your potential, right?
Energetic portrait of your potential.
Portrait of your potential. Okay. Because the human design chart shows us our gifts and our strengths, but most of us aren't living in alignment with those gifts and strengths. We may be living in alignment with some, and maybe we're in the contrast, or what's commonly used in this industry, in the shadow or the low expression of some, like when we're conditioned in a particular area and we're trying to fit in or follow patterns that we've been taught, versus in alignment with the gift level of those traits.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So that's why I call it the energetic portrait of your potential.
And so an example, just to test my understanding. So as a kid, where I was allowed to be free, impulsive, speak out, share my thoughts, while some of my older cousins who had been conditioned differently saw it as a negative, it actually paid off when I was in the dentist's office the other day, and this brother man was kind of being talked down to, and I stood up for him and I said, "Hey, I know you got a charge over there." He was just talking down to someone. And the lady responded to me where she had told him no. Someone else in the office had flatly told him no, go shut up. And he looked at me and he said, "Thanks, coach, for putting me in the game."
Ooh.
Perfect stranger. But what in that environment was seen as a negative, why don't she shut up? In this environment, it allowed me to advocate and lift the brother up. So that's what I take away from what you're describing is often, we're carrying all this potential, but we don't know what to point it at or where to bring it out where it'll have its biggest positive impact. I feel you, and I love that about the work that you do. All right, tell us more. I just wanted to give an example just in case folks may not pick it up.
I love that. So the M stands for mindset, right? And this isn't, mindset is a word that's used a lot today, but it's not just about positive thinking. It's not just about affirmations. It's about rewiring the old thoughts and belief patterns that are holding us back, that are keeping us small, that are keeping us stuck. And so I use tools like NLP and hypnosis or journaling. One of my favorite tools is EFT tapping, and that is a somatic and mindset. It's like a mind-body connection for reframing, clearing old beliefs, reframing fear, shifting energy in the body.
Okay.
And then the E is for embodiment. And we can learn all the tools, learn all of the practices, but knowledge without integration, where it becomes your lifestyle, where it becomes who you are, because this is where we get into that, the doing and the routines of things. We take that knowledge and those new beliefs, and we have to internalize them. We have to integrate them into reflections and breath work and self-love practices to root it in the body, so it becomes part of who we are. It's not about faking it until we make it, right? It's not just trying to do this and do this for a period of time, right? So when you put these three things together, the I am me method, if you say it really fast, it sounds like I am me. That was on purpose.
I got you. I am me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put these three things together, it kind of works like a tripod. And if and a tripod holds, I'm going to bring in my photography here. So a tripod holds that camera steady, right? So it can focus, so it can get that image and without blur. So, but if you take one of the legs away, or if one of the legs is uneven, right, your composition is off. If you don't have all three legs, then it's wobbly. The structure isn't sustainable. So when you take that identity, mindset, and embodiment, and that's everything's in alignment, that's when their transformation becomes sustainable. It's not performative, it's who you are. And when it's who you are, you're not trying to be somebody else. You're not trying to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. And you don't spiral out in this imposter syndrome. That's where imposter syndrome comes from, is not being authentic to who you are.
Reading a script that somebody else wrote,
Right.
and you can't even relate to. You like, who is this? Okay, I'll read it. Is this what's gonna get me through? But when you get to the through, you're feeling empty, and it's like, wait a minute, what is this? And feeling more imposturing. I am me. Wow, I am me. What? I mean, that's just a powerful affirmation and just something to really reflect and just kind of chant to yourself. I am me, and that is a good thing.
Right.
Whereas I am me and I need to shrink away and I don't want to be me. So getting into that identity and, I love that. I am me. All those messages in there, girl. So what was your personal journey to get there? So now that we really unpacked your I am me, how did you get there?
How did I get there? We kind of touched on it a little bit in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
My story with this is just figuring out who I was.
Okay, that's right? True. You've answered that.
It was figuring out who I was, and human design really helped me. So it crossed my path about 3 times before I was like, oh yeah, now I get it.
You like knock you over there. It's like when you don't pass a class, when you keep retaining and keep going back through it, that means you didn't learn the lesson first time. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. I got you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it. So yeah, when it came back around the 3rd time, it was like it almost hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't that the first 2 times I was like, oh, I can't get into that. It was more like, this is really cool. And when I introduce human design to people, that's the response that I get. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. But human design isn't something that you just like hear and, oh, that's a cool thing, and then you go on continuing the same behavior and all of the things. It's meant to be experienced. So you have to you have to show up for practice. You got to practice it. Practice living in alignment, because you're trying to shed years of patterns and conditioning and shrinking.
So it feels like it's a blend of science and intuition. It's like having another way of knowing yourself, another way of measuring yourself. So this human design, what is it really? I mean, you talked about it being a map of my potential, but is it like a Myers-Briggs? Is it like DISC? What is human design?
It is like all of those things.
Okay.
It is like all of those things, but better. And I say better because when you take a Myers-Briggs, 16 personalities, an Enneagram, a DISC profile, you're answering questions through the lens of your experience and your current state.
Mm-hmm.
So it's filtered. The answers to the questions that get you to whatever that result is filtered. And you can take that any of those tests today and then take it again 5 years from now and maybe get a different result.
Okay.
With human design, it's based on your birth details, your birth time, location, and place. Time, date, and location, sorry. And it doesn't change. This is how you were designed to be, who you came here to be, what you came here to give, what you came here to learn. It's a multitude of things. There's literally thousands of pieces of information that you can pull out of your energetic portrait.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, it doesn't change. How you experience it does change over time.
Okay.
So the more conditioned you are away from your authentic self, the harder it may be to see how you are designed to respond, designed to be, to see these gifts.
So it's almost levels of conditioning that you are trying to wear off. So once you have the knowledge of really that energetic photo of yourself, it's almost a choice as well to say, I acknowledge that to be true for me, and here's the path I'm going to walk now to try to move toward that authentic original design.
Right. I love that.
Okay. So you take people through human design as a way to sharpen in on that identity. But you have a lot of other tools and stuff. So I'm just curious. Talk to me about that holistic approach, perhaps, that you're bringing to the Self-Image Society, your upcoming membership, and maybe after working with women individually, what has that shown you that maybe is making you go into the members? Walk us through how all of this is coming together. I guess is generally my question.
Sure. Yeah. So for a long time, I felt like I had to choose between being deeply spiritual or highly strategic. But my transformation and my client's transformation didn't really start to accelerate until I let those two worlds merge together, right? I'm certified in all the science-backed stuff, the EFT, time techniques, NLP, human design, life coaching, and I know how to rewire a thought pattern. I know how to deconstruct a limiting belief, but I also have this intuitive knowing that we're all gifted with on some level, right? I feel people, I can see their energy. I hear their unspoken, what's out of alignment for them. I can sense that. And what I realize is we don't just need mindset work. We don't just need soul work. We need both. And human design helped me to trust that part of myself even more. So there's like all these different archetypes, right? There's 5 of them. There's the generator, the manifesting generator, projector, manifester, and the reflector. And I'm a manifesting generator. My energy isn't linear, and neither is the healing journey. It's not a step-by-step, like this is how you do it. It's an experience. And so I learned that it's okay to know things without being able to explain them right away. And I also learned that intuition or intuitive hits aren't woo-woo. It's wisdom. It's body wisdom. And so now I blend those two things together to really help my clients have a holistic experience, right? Because our life isn't compartmentalized. And we're not one-dimensional beings. So the science gives us the map, but the intuition gives us the compass. The science gets you unstuck, and your soul lights you up. And so I think that's why I chose the tagline, the soul and science of transformation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Soul and science. I love it.
And like to answer the other part of your question about like how did the Self-Image Society come to be? I grew up hearing, and I'm sure a lot of people may have had this experience, like we don't talk about our trials. We keep our business private. We keep all of those things like
what stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house.
That's it. And when I started to realize that things needed to change for myself, I felt so alone. Trying to figure out which is why I spent a lot of time on Google. What am I Googling? What are people Googling? Like I was Googling what is this that I'm feeling? What is this experience? Who do I need to go to? And oftentimes we think right away that means I need therapy. You don't always need therapy. Maybe what you need is a support network. Maybe what you need is coaching. You need that community. And I found support in my coaching community. And I realized that was a huge missing piece for me. That's why I was feeling so disconnected, so confused, like I'm feeling alone.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so
Jinx.
learning to see yourself with love, learning to see your self-worth, it's already a vulnerable journey. It's already like hard. And while I love working one-on-one with people, like that's where you get that deep transformation. You can move faster when it's like that one-on-one. But real transformation multiplies and becomes sustainable when you have a supportive community.
Okay. So that's the sustainability lever again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Think about it. Like iron sharpens iron. And we are, or the other thing I say all the time is we are hear all the time is we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you spending time with? Are you spending time with the people who are on a similar journey or have gone before you on that same path? Are you surrounded by women who see you, not just who you were or who you've been, but really see you for who you're becoming? CIS, the Self-Image Society, is a space for women to be witnessed, to be celebrated, to be challenged. I do daily dares every other month. And to be supported as they write their next chapter, as they rewrite the limiting beliefs that have been holding them back. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, you just laid it down.
I think when one woman reclaims that power, reclaims her image, the image, or holds a different image of herself, she changes how she shows up in her family, in her profession, in her business, and that creates the ripple that she sends out into the world.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm just going to test is often when we're making those kind of changes and we don't have a supportive community, the original community we came from, it's like, who she thinks she is?
Right. That's right.
She's trying to leave us behind. What she say? Because we ain't taking no self-improvement courses. We ain't, mm-hmm. So it could be adversarial. It could be, really knock on their insecurities. It could really begin to show them up for who they're not being. But it could also, just like I remember Akilah and the Bee.
Oh, yeah.
When the mother didn't allow her and didn't sign for her to compete on those higher levels, it was her way of protecting her from what she thought was going to be pain and loss. Yeah. So it was well intended, but often when you accept people's advice, you are signing up to live their life. And if they had a life that was governed by limiting beliefs and of potential and believing that failure was going to lead to falling and not getting up, then that's what they're going to try to protect you from.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What you just laid out is, hey, you can still have those loved ones, but you need to be in the community that's respecting and edifying what you're becoming, not just where you're coming from.
Yeah. And also, if I could add on, it was beautifully said, by the way, mm-hmm. beautifully said, but if I could add on one more thing, mm-hmm. about the sustainability part, when you don't have that community and that the world that you're in, it's all you hear, even it's almost like pushing a boulder uphill because you're fighting against the current. You don't have people helping you row the boat. You have somebody that's kind of sitting in your boat, adding to the weight while you're struggling to try to move ahead.
Exactly. I can feel that. I can see that. And you're spot on. Because when I think about some of the life-changing things that I've been involved in, while my husband has been like a continual, yes, baby, you can do it. Some of the stuff that I bring back sometimes, he's like, what the? And I'm so glad that I have my inner circle, like from my real estate work, where I can sit with them and hear how they've done the thing that I'm saying, is doable, how you scale and get 3 properties in a month. through acquisition and all those things, where he's looking at me like, babe, don't you think we need to slow down? So I hear that, but I put it in the box of where he's coming from. And I go and get just invigorated when I go to see people who are doing better and bigger than what I'm doing and living bolder, because it's so edifying to know that it can be done. I'm only limited by what I'm willing to try. Yeah.
I love that. My mom always said, and she actually just said it last weekend when I was home, nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yes, that was one of my mamas too. I love that. Nothing beats a failure but a try. I love that. Okay. When you move and groove as you are doing, and thinking about our soulmates, what are some of the things that might be signals to them that they might need a framework like I Am Me, or might need an assessment like human design, or might need to be in a self-image society?
Well, I think the self-image society is for everybody. I think we all need that level of community, even if you don't feel like it's something you need every day. I think we all need it, right? We all need a supportive community. But if you are feeling unseen, if you are feeling like you've checked all the boxes, I've done, and checking all the boxes. Let's talk about that. Like, just what does that look like? For me, it was, I've done all of the things right. I went to college, I got my degree, I got the good job, I'm moving up the corporate ladder, I got my family, I bought a house, you're checking all the boxes, and you're just like, and then you wait for your 2 weeks vacation, or 2 weeks of time off so you can take vacation and go enjoy your life. That's just one example, but maybe it's a transition that you're going through, and you're starting to feel like I'm being swallowed by the roles that I'm playing, and I've lost myself. I just know that there's more to it. I'm meant for more. I'd like to be doing more.
Meant for more. I love that. So I think you have, from all the things that you've laid out here, I'm just excited for the potential recipients of your work, of your energy. How some people may not perceive that it's something that they need. And I like, let me bring all the perspectives of how you can see yourself benefiting from some of these things. You just laid it out so well. So I'm hoping that our soulmates are tuning in and saying, ooh, like if they're looking at that movie, right? The movie Runaway Bride. Oh, I've been absorbing everybody else's energy and don't know my own. Yeah. So
how do you want your eggs?
Yes. How do you like your eggs? For real. For serious, at your core.
Right.
So I just want to just wrap up with some rapid fire questions for you. This is Pepper Soup Stories. So we must ask, what have been some of the hottest peppers in your life? Pepper moment when it just really turned up the heat and you thought you would like, oh my God, it's an inferno. It's going to absorb and consume me. What was yours?
When I realized, there were lots. Okay. Let's just start there.
There were lots of moments. Okay.
When I realized I had, I think the underlying current in all of them, it's shrinking to fit into a marriage, to fit into a job. I remember just now when I said job, I just kind of had this moment of never felt like I could quit a job, right? I never felt like I could quit. No, you're supposed to be here, and no job is perfect, right? Unless I had a better offer. But I would stay in a job that I was miserable and unhappy and dare I say, almost felt like I was chained to.
Was sucking the life out of you, right?
Sucking the life out of me.
Took all you could to get up every day. You had to look at your children to feel like, oh my God, that's the reason why I gotta go. Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I just felt like I was just trying to like shrink to fit, stay small. And one of the turning points was, or one of the most recent ones that's standing out was like in 2008 when the market crashed, and I lost my job. Yeah, and I lost my job because I didn't feel like I could leave it. And I had to pivot. Like I was forced to pivot. And I feel like because of conditioning and not being a quitter, there were lots of moments in my life where I was forced to pivot rather than making the choice and have agency over it. What came next in my life. That was a long answer for. You said these supposed to be quick, right?
I told you, wherever you go, I will follow, my dear, because this is all about the message that God has planted in you. So I'm just soaking that in, because you just brought up something that I think is true maybe for a lot of people. I tell a story of a special person in my life who values stability, values, they're very loyal, and they are very much defined by the excellence that they bring into the workplace. And it wasn't a case of not liking their job, but the job came back and basically said, we're shutting down and you're not going to have a job no more. And you'll be in the second round of people to go, not in the first round. And it was like destabilizing, because had this person kept up their resume, had their LinkedIn fired up and all of that. And so it was like, oh my God, my world is shaking. Oh no. And then they go put themselves out there, start getting coffee interviews and everything. Then the company comes back and says, oh no, we're not going to shut down. We'll still let those first round of people go. But the second round that we were really valuing and we knew y'all were amazing, y'all are going to be able to stay. So then they hear this information, and then they get called back for a job that was going to give them so many things that the last job was lacking. Working remotely, being able to be at a next level, learn a different aspect and grow their, all of that stuff. They would have never gone after that job if the burning building wouldn't have been threatened. So how do we position ourselves to not wait for the burning building, but to proactively and intentionally seek out and move toward that thing that will grow us? As we grow through it. You know what I mean? Yeah. What advice might you give? Because it's interesting that you've spotted that pattern in yourself. And in spotting the pattern, often we have figured out how to break the pattern. So are there any nuggets or gems you can share there?
I think the biggest thing is learning to listen to your intuition, which for the longest time, I didn't know how to do that. I remember a friend of mine, I was in my 20s, a long time ago, but I remember a friend of mine saying, making the statement that she wished she had the gift of discernment. And I don't know why that's just stuck with me. It's just stuck with me for a long time. Trying to what does discernment look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And then when I began this journey on my own, I realized it's learning to trust yourself and to trust your instincts, and whatever however your intuition speaks to you. I call mine my inner BFF. However your intuition speaks to you, learning to really be in tune with. It's a relationship, and and listening to it, because it's here to keep you safe, not small. And being safe does not mean staying small.
I love how you're teasing those two apart, because safety often for some people is that invisibility, until that invisibility becomes like not enough for who you know you're meant to be inside. So you've got to come up with different tactics so that you can, wait a minute, this whole small thing has been my MO from age 0 to whatever. Yeah. Hey, it ain't working for me now. I need to come up with a new mojo. I need to get my, I need something else. And that's just so powerful. Learning to be in relationship with your inner BFF. I can relate to the sense of intuition, and maybe biologically, the thing that sits in our gut, it has part of our brain in it. So when our bodies are actually being created inside of our mother's womb, the reason that we feel things in our gut is part of our brain, the origin. So it's a brain here and it's a brain here.
Yeah.
So learn how to hear this one. And then on a spiritual level, I guess for me, I learned that at the limits of my intellect lied my intuition. Yeah. And that praying to God was this direction, but hearing from God was this direction. And being able to be silent enough to really hear, and that discernment that you're talking about is making meaning of.
Oh my God, I love that. Ooh, I just got chills.
Yes, because I'm always asking myself that, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. You know me well enough. I believe in signs and wonders. Yeah. So some of these patterns that come up in front of me that stop me in my tracks, and I know it's only God that could send that particular message. How in the world? And then I say, Lord, what is it that you want me to receive?
Yeah.
What action do I need to take? How do I need to be in this space that only you have created? And I do feel that wisdom, and I love that. Not keep me safe.
Keep me safe, but not small.
There you go. Keep me safe, but not small. Because I'm moving into new levels of safety because
you're expanding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And stretching often isn't comfortable, but it's necessary.
That's true. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say and caution people on is that voice is not the voice that's yelling and screaming. Right? It's a quiet voice. It's a quiet inner knowing. So when our intuitions speak to us, it's not the one with the megaphone. The megaphone is the fear.
The negative, yeah. Yeah, girl, you have said it today. All right, Yoli Ray. Oh my. I feel so full from what you've described, Yeah. If you were to name your story and give it a dish name, like it was a meal, what would you name it and who needs to taste it? Your story, your offer, what you're supposed to bring. What do you call it? It was a dish, and who needs to taste it?
I would call it sparkle and spice saute.
Okay. Sparkle and spice saute. Now tell me about that.
Got to keep it on brand. So sparkle and spice saute. Yeah.
I love it.
Sprinkle in the lessons and toss that in with some little bit of olive oil. Season it with self-love.
Season with self-love. I love it. Yes.
Fry it up with some breakthroughs and garnish it with glow.
Oh, fry up breakthroughs. Now, everyone, let's set the table and let's eat up. Tell us how we can reach you, my dear. How can we reach you?
Well, you can find me on social media at the Self-Love Shutterbug.
Self-love shutterbug. I love it.
Yeah. So TikTok, on Instagram, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I just launched a Substack. It's a blogging platform where
Mm-hmm.
I am sharing my. And let me just back up, and I'll break down my social media for you.
Okay.
So on YouTube, it's I run the Self Mastery Lab on YouTube, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's basically my educational platform where I share human design insights, and I teach about human design, and I teach about EFT and some of these components and modalities that I use in coaching.
Okay.
And so that's really a lot of educational stuff
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube, and I share some sound bites or clips of that on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And on Instagram, I am sharing like just kind of behind the scenes things, and one of the things that I'm starting is my solo dates. And on Substack, I'm just being very transparent about my self-love journey and just sharing from that perspective of what it's looking like, what it's feeling like, what I'm going through, what I'm growing through.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that my bio says date yourself for 6 months and fall hard for who you are. And so I'm probably my human design profile here, and so as a 4/6, the 6 line is about role model. And I wholeheartedly believe that when we are, at least for me, I need to be out in front and lead. And so what I'm doing is I'm sharing my solo dates in the dating yourself for a year, dating yourself for 6 months challenge. So
that's what solo dates are. Okay.
So I'll be posting some. This week I took myself to a museum. I went to 2, and I took myself to lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a great time. And so I'll be sharing some shots on that, behind the scenes on that from that date this week, and I'll blog about it on Substack. And the Substack is The Art of Loving Me, or yoliray.substack.com.
Work for you. And also, if people want to actually do the assessment of the human design, we'll also have that link in the bio, and we'll be telling all the wonderful things about you on our website as well, peppersoupstories.com. All right. Are there any closing comments? Oh, let me just bring some recaps, because you brought some fire today.
Okay.
Some of the key things that I would just that I took away from what you shared is your own moment of reclamation. Your own moment of reclamation was around identifying that you wanted to serve in a more sustainable way with your photography, and that took you on a journey to work on you. And in working on you, you built tools and practices that you felt that God was calling you to share into the world, so much so that you created your signature framework. I am me. And me is amazing. That's my next line around there. I am me, and me is amazing. So let me see how amazing I could be. When you talk about those 3 legs and holding focus with the 3 legs, very, very positive. And I could see that camera metaphor of holding focus, and if one leg is not there, then it's wobbly. So it's important to have our identity, our mindset, and to embody it. It's no need in, the person who can read and doesn't is just as bad as the person who can't read. So embodiment is reading now that you have the ability to do so. The filtering, how you describe that many of the assessments that we do are filtered through our current state. Like if we are answering questions, so let's say I know DISC and Myers-Briggs for me, I answer the question really based on how I perceive things. Yeah. Whereas human design scrubs out all that perception and just goes back to your origin. And you're a Leo. So when's your birthday? You got a birthday coming up.
August 3rd.
August 3rd. Oh, you're in the back end of the Leos. Okay. Because my brother's a Leo, but
in July.
Okay. Yes, he's in July. Okay. All right. Well, I'm a Libra, so I got the whole balance thing going on mostly.
Yeah, mostly. I love how you said
Mostly.
that.
But that human design allows you to see at the core, and that bit just at the core of who you are, and the intersection between spirit and strategy, that intersectionality that says that we're not just one thing, we're many things. I love how you bring that in. And yes, you know how to rewire thought patterns, and yes, you know how to, feel people's energy, but how do you roll that all in so people are operating from their authentic who they are, and then begin to show up in those ways comfortably, because they know who me is, and I am me, and I'm operating that way. And then the communities that you've created with Iron Sharpening Iron and the Self-Image Society. I just love being in a community of people who can edify, amplify, support who we are becoming, not just who we've been, and knowing that we need those types of communities if we're going to elevate and grow. And last but not least, your pepper moment, that shrinking to fit and recognizing it, and not having to wait to be pushed and forced to make pivots, necessary pivots in life, but using your intuition, your wisdom of discernment, and taking action to do such a thing that moves you closer. I wonder sometimes if we ever sit down and log all the delays that we allowed to play out that kept us from being who we're supposed to be. That I am me delay. Cumulatively, how much more could we have created significance in the world if we wouldn't have delayed? We wouldn't have waited for the burning building, and we just set the thing on fire. So I love that you're allowing people to set it on fire and not wait for the fire to burn them. Burn it down. Keep going, girl. And notice my little t-shirt I was telling you about. I got, this is for Juneteenth. And this is saying,
I love it.
The 92% of us, we're drinking tea right now, resting up. Because it says out here at the bottom, we told y'all.
I love it.
So what I'm also saying is, you found there's a many Jen. It was okay to know things and not necessarily know how you know it. This is that, how you know things, and not being in people's faces to say I told you so, but being in a position to restore and set things right. And that's the positive space I want to end with. But I wear this t-shirt because it helps me to be seen and feel seen and know that I am me. Thank you very much, Yoli, for the time today. Pepper Soup Stories just welcomes you and embraces you, and look forward to more joint projects with you.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been such a joy. Thank you for letting me pour a little sparkle and soul into your show, and
yes,
for your listeners, your soulmates. I love that.
Yes, we're eating a saute, girl.
Yeah, we're eating a saute. We're always writing our next chapter. Mm-hmm. And conversations like this just remind us that we're not alone. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I thank you.
All right. Take care, my dear. Have a lovely rest of the day, weekend, all that good stuff. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, leave a review, and connect with us on social media. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, soulmates, stay inspired, keep growing, and turn life's peppers into a flavorful soup. Connect below. Bye-bye for now.